This episode of Another Happy Pod is going to contain spoilers. If you've not experienced the content yourself, please go ahead and do so before coming back and listening to the boys ramble on about it. Thank you very much.
This episode of Another Happy Pod is sponsored by cat food.
Cat food, enjoyed by aliens with a side of oppression.
Do you like my mustache?
Lawrence, please just open the episode with that.
I think I might. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Pod Boys, as Connor named the podcast, making it abundantly clear he hasn't listened to an episode in a while. We're joined as usual by Nathan, who is old, and Connor, who is still a little bit older than me. Connor, say hello.
Hello. It is me, Connor. Not sure how to
Connor,
start,
you have the honour of being the second ever guest on Another Happy Pod, but also the first guest with an actual decent microphone. So shout out to you.
Shout out to me.
Well done, Connor. It's a massive honour. Connor, you're a streaming boy. You're a YouTube streaming boy. Tell us a bit about what you do.
I'm a hit sensation. I'm up there with Ninja, but I don't play. I don't play Fortnite because I'm not 9. But I do stream like mostly Let's Plays. I find lots of joy in that, and I am a slowly growing channel. I'm finding it a lot of fun to stream.
What is your channel name?
My channel, I should probably say actually, my channel name is Mr. Super Kins. That's not with an E. That's with not with an ER. It's with an A. Super Kins.
I've always wondered, is there a history to that name? Is there a reason?
There is a very small history. It's not really that fun. Basically, when I was in school, my best friend at the time, he had a PlayStation username called, I think it was XX Supper Killer XX. Basically, the most generic name that you could think of
Supper
for Supper Killer.
He's
basically,
out killing
yes.
northern dinners.
He is. He's pretty good at Call of Duty, actually. Not to be fair. So I sort of like took that and I was like, well, I used to get the nickname Kins in secondary school, so I'm like, let's fuse that together. And I like Mister, so let's put that together, and there we go. It's a really boring.
Dead honest.
History
is the Mister because YouTube already had Superkins, and so you had to add like Mister, or it would either be Mr. Superkins or Superkins 101.
Yes. Yes. They didn't have. Sorry, my timer went right there. I've got some chicken in the oven. I'm just gonna go turn it off in a second. But yes. Sorry, it's not going very well here.
Go sort out your chicken. Go sort out your chicken before you burn the fucking house.
Right, hold on.
Oh. All right, so go subscribe to
I'm
Mr.
back.
Superkins. Oh, he's back. So go subscribe to Mr. Superkins on YouTube. He's going to have a lovely chicken dinner once the podcast is over, and I'm sure he'd appreciate some more.
We've got chicken tonight.
Chicken tonight. There we go. What a lovely meal.
Connor, I'm already enjoying having you on so much. This is like the regular podcast dynamic has just been hit by a train today. It's fantastic. Connor, we asked you on because we wanted you on. We thought it'd be fun, but you chose the topic of today, which is District 9.
Yes.
Why did you choose District 9?
It's my favourite movie. It is actually, if I could pick a favourite movie, it would be that one. And a lot of people do question that. They think, really? It's kind of like, it's done like a documentary. But it is one of my favourite movies. And it actually is a massive influence why I got into acting, / acted, don't really act no more kind of thing. You know the deal.
None of us do, yeah. We know what you mean.
I was thinking of a topic, and I was thinking, well, why don't I pick a film that might be interesting? And it just so happens that there's a fair bit to talk about here with potential sequel on the horizon. But,
definitely.
yeah.
I was just actually reading up on that, and it definitely seems interesting. Before we dive on into the actual movie itself, obviously, Connor, it's your favorite movie, so you've got some history with it there. Lawrence, had you seen this before?
I'd seen it before, so the last time I saw this movie was like 7 years ago, I want to say, off the top of my head. I had some weird, like, pre-notion that this was, like, one, something to do with the Aliens universe, which it's not, and two, that the lead actor was actually Adrian Brody from The Pianist, which he's not. So I watched this back last night, and I just remember going, that's not fucking Adrian Brody.
It's not Adrian Brody.
And this isn't anything to do with Alien. So this was like, basically, I'd seen this before, but it may as well have been the first time watching it. Yeah. What about you?
I think I had seen half of it before, and I remember seeing certain parts. I don't think I ever watched it all the way through, but I just remember seeing little bits here and there. Like, I remember specifically seeing the scene where Charlotte Copley was eating cat food out of a tin, and then I remember him and an alien with a gun going into a building, and that was pretty much all I remembered from the movie. So today was really the first time I'd seen the movie in full, and you know what? It's a fucking good movie.
It really is. It
there we
really
go.
I was surprised by how good this was. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, good. That makes me happy. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, because it is like, for most people, because it's set out like kind of like a documentary, especially for the time of, I think it was 2009 when it came out. A lot of people didn't really digest this very well, but it did receive. I think it received a couple of Oscar nominations.
I think it was nominated for Best Picture. I was reading earlier.
Yes. Because they had Peter Jackson tied to it as a producer, but I remember watching it the first time. I saw trailers of it, and I was like, "Oh, I really want to see this," but I never got to see it in the cinema. So I actually rented this from Blockbusters. Can you believe it?
Gosh, showing your age.
We're going back.
Boys.
I know. That's, oh goodness me, I sound old. But and I remember, like, asking my mum, "Can we rent this, please?" And she said, "Yeah, sure, we can." So rented it, and we watched it, and she enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed it. I was like, "My God, that's great!" Because I'd never seen acting like as well as this from like an unknown actor, Charlotte Copley.
I was reading earlier as well, but like once I finished with the movie, I just started reading up just to see what I can to get some extra notes. And I read that Charlotte O'Copley, had actually never acted before he was in this. Like, it was a happy mistake that he was cast in this, because apparently Neil Blomkamp just needed him on camera to get some like test footage or something, and from there he basically just got the part, which is fucking insane.
You're
really.
joking, because one of the main things I took away from this was how fucking good this not Adrian Brody bloke is. Like, honestly, like the one scene, he's got so many impressive scenes in this, and he's given like an actor's wet dream of content. Like, he's given such good lines and good scenes and moments and a good arc. But there's the one scene that I love the most is when he's speaking to his wife, who's saying that she can't do it anymore over the phone. And he's obviously, he's there and he's like, "Don't do this, baby. No, not, don't leave me. Don't give up on us." Come on, I'm doing the accent. But it's great.
The accent's a difficult one to do.
It is a very difficult one to do. I regret doing it now.
Yeah, you should.
It's
bit of an Australian mix in there.
A bit of one, yeah. No, he was so fucking good in it. So that's amazing. That why did he get it then? Why did they not cast it elsewhere?
Don't know. Just reading here. Yeah, star Charlotte O'Copley had not acted before and had no intention of pursuing an acting career. He stumbled into the leading role as director Neil Blomkamp placed him on camera during the short film. Oh yeah, apparently this is based on a short film.
Live in Joburg, it's called.
Have you seen that?
I have seen that. It's very short. It is based on like it's it's like you said, they're just sort of like doing some test footage, but it turned out to be like a 5-minute movie. And what it is it is sort of like a build up to aliens living in Joburg, in Johannesburg, in South Africa, and that was shot in 2006.
Right.
And then they went on to make the movie. But I do have a little fun fact for you, actually.
Oh, go on.
They were actually District 9 was never actually going to be a thing.
I know what this is going to be.
I don't know what this is. Connor, tell me with the fact.
They were actually, because Peter Jackson was tied to the project. They were going to do Halo. They were going to do a Halo movie.
What?
But like Halo, the Halo Master Chief that you know from Microsoft.
That's so weird.
Xbox. It is, but it makes a good transition because whatever they did have, they could sort of like translate it into making these aliens, sort of.
Apparently, Halo the movie didn't get very far into the development process, but apparently some props and a few other things were carried over, which is quite cool.
Just picturing District 9 as is, and then just out of nowhere, Master Chief just walks around the corner. That's so weird, though.
Going
what a
blanky
weird,
mode.
like, production thing. How? When did the last Lord of the Rings movie come out? How?
2003 they came out.
Okay, so there'd been a while since then. Had he done anything since?
Yeah, he did King Kong in 2005.
Oh, God, King Kong, yeah. 3 hours, masterpiece.
Yeah, very long movie. 3 hours, 25 minutes, I think it is, actually. And then also, I don't think he did anything after that for quite a while. So,
does Peter Jackson know how long movies should be?
Well, this was a brisk 2 hours. This flew by.
Yeah, this was, to be fair. Although he produced
this,
right?
A brisk walk.
This.
Well, no, yeah, to be fair, yeah, he was just a producer. But yeah, he still had quite a heavy role in it from what it looked like.
To be fair, right, that's something that I do love about this. Like Nathan saying, it flew by. I was surprised at how short this was.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because I watched the 4-hour movie the other week.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I don't know if this, to me, just felt like an absolute brisk stroll in the park.
That's the last movie we talked about on this podcast, it goes for like your entire life. So this was a very welcome reprieve.
Rumor has it I'm still watching.
Nice easy breeze of a watch.
Exactly.
But
I did have to get up during that movie.
Yeah. Oh well, you'd be foolish not to. Anyone that watched it in 4 sittings, in one sitting, I commend you. But no, so the simplicity of this like movie, like the fact that the plot is actually not that complicated, the fact that it's such a quick movie, but there's so much like subtext packed into this. Like this movie says so much,
yeah.
And it
really did.
It's incredible. Connor, is that why it became your favorite movie, or did that pass you by when you were younger, or did you come to appreciate it later? How did that go?
I loved it from the first viewing of it, actually. I remember watching it, and like there is so much to unpack here. It's like how quickly it's the same cliche thing with the government. They want the best thing and they don't care whose lives they ruin.
Yeah.
So they take him when they find out his DNA has been spliced by the alien species, and their weapon tech cannot be used by humans. But I think one of the very big things I love about this movie is the music, and it's specifically the scene when he is first on his own and he's in a field and he overlooks Johannesburg, and you see the alien spaceship hovering above, and it's just that it gives me goosebumps thinking about it, because I used to have it on my phone. I used to listen to it on the bus on the way to college. And it gave me utter goosebumps. I think you might know what it is. It's like it was played at the end, and it's played partway through the film, and it's I'm not going to repeat it because I will butcher it. I will butcher it completely. But
let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Someone.
Connor, this is your first podcast appearance, right?
Fuck.
We want to hear this.
Well, I can give it a go.
Go
on. Just literally like 5 seconds maybe. And he goes.
Oh, Wonder Woman's theme.
That one. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
To be honest, Connor, I don't. I'm going to need to hear that one more time.
No, I'm not doing. Not a chance. Not a chance.
It is
it.
interesting you say that though, because I don't mean this to be like any slight to the movie or any disrespect to the composer, but I cannot remember a single song from this movie now that I think about it. And I literally just watched it a couple of hours ago. I am having trouble remembering the music, but I guess that's not something I was really paying attention to in my first proper viewing. Did you notice the music at all, Lawrence?
Connor, I don't want to shit on your parade. I don't really. And that's not through, like, I bet it's amazing, and I bet if I watched it through and paid attention to it, it'd be amazing. But I read a couple of people's reviews just to find out what the general consensus of this movie was. So many of them mention the music, so you can't be wrong. But yeah, it didn't stand out to me. I don't know if that's just me.
Well,
From what I remember, because I actually didn't have enough time to rewatch the film, but because it sits so comfortably in my heart. I remember that a lot of the music is very natural, if that is anything to go off of. There is some added in music. There's a lot of street music, like audio just captured from the streets. And there's not a lot of music placed in there, but when it is placed in there, it is really good. You got the intense scenes, you got the reflection scenes, and the basic gist of what the story is.
Maybe that's
you
why
get a feel for it, and
maybe that's why it was kind of difficult to notice then, because you have to be listening out for it. Sometimes you don't digest sound that's supposedly in the scene if you're paying attention to the dialogue too much. Maybe me and Nathan just appreciated this movie too much to notice anything good. I'm joking.
Yeah, maybe.
That's interesting. Is there any other what else stood out to you? Because obviously, with all the subtext going on, I'm surprised that how old were you when you first watched this? I know you said.
Oh, so it was 2009. I was, when I first watched it, I'm looking at the date right now. I think I was 14.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was. No, actually, I was 13. 2009. I was born in 95.
Well, there we go.
I'm not very good at maths. I think I was 13.
It's just
There's me just trying to think. Sorry.
Did you? Because I know you loved it from the first go, but did you fully appreciate it for what it's doing? Because this, I said, this movie's subtext is very rich.
This would have massively gone over my head as a 14-year-old.
Yeah, same here.
I would have just been like, haha, cool alien.
Cool prawn.
Cool prawns.
I think if I'm being honest, I think it did go over my head a little bit, but I could appreciate what I could understand, and that was what the story was. Because for me as a person and as an actor, I really like to put myself in the character's shoes, and you get that from watching movies, playing video games, reading books. It's something I sit with very much. So as 13, 14-year-old kid, I don't think I fully appreciated everything that was being shown on screen. I just know I absolutely loved it, from the music to the storytelling to another topic of documentary, the way it was shot as well. I was like, I've not really seen...
The framing device is really, really interesting. I like that it's the first 20 minutes are just basically a documentary.
Yeah.
And it's
Exactly.
really good, really interesting to watch. After that, it kind of goes into more traditional movie, but every now and then it keeps cutting back to those floating head interviews, which is
the way this goes. Like Nathan said, the first 20 minutes, I remember pausing it and thinking to myself, holy fuck, I've just realised this whole introduction has been an edit for a trailer in itself. It's so fast paced, and obviously it has to be because of the length, but one thing that it does so well is switch between the format it's done in. So you've got the documentary, but then every now and again you'll cut, and it will be this cinematic shot where you'll notice that this is obviously part of the film. I know the whole thing is, but this is obviously not found footage. This is obviously not a documentary segment that they've taken to make this edit. and it flows so seamlessly to the point where sometimes I didn't even notice it, which is it's so fucking. Do you know how hard that is to do? Like, it's ridiculous.
What I actually really liked as well, and this is just a tiny touch, it's not even that significant really, but just at the end, it had like the traditional like documentary ending, like this character ended up as a blah blah blah, and like the ship managed to, and whatever, just giving you like updates on where things are since the filming of the documentary, quote unquote, stopped. And that was actually just a really nice touch. Not a lot of like fake mockumentaries do that, so quite enjoyed that as well.
They committed to the genre they chose, which was massive. Speaking of genre, as a sci-fi film, like would you call this a sci-fi? I'd say it's loosely, because it's
yeah, it's definitely sci-fi.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's a different type of sci. Maybe that is the format, maybe, but like it doesn't feel like a traditional sci-fi, but it definitely is one. Do you know
it
what
doesn't
I mean?
feel like it doesn't feel like traditional sci-fi because it's not aliens invading. That's why it doesn't feel like traditional sci-fi. It's like they said, they say in the beginning of the movie, you know, the ship didn't land over New York or Washington or Chicago or anything like that. It's just here in Johannesburg, and it didn't attack. It just stayed there, and it was full of refugees. That's why it feels different, and that's why it really works, because it is that big subversion. I mean, you think of like classic sci-fi alien films, you're thinking of Independence Day. I mean, the big poster for that is a huge spaceship over the White House or whatever. And then this, you've got a huge spaceship over a full city, but it's just full of refugees, just people trying to survive instead of coming to attack. And that's why it works. That's why it's really good.
Yeah.
That actually does spark a little bit of. I just remembered actually. Yeah, at the start of the film, it didn't land anywhere that was important, and this is what makes the film quite original. It landed in a popular, famous city, but you wouldn't even think about that. Not for one would you think about that. You think about somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. In this situation, most likely be somewhere over America or something like that, but yeah, it's Johannesburg, and the fact that it is Johannesburg as well really lends itself to the themes of the movie, because like obviously apartheid and everything like that, and then you have segregation and all that sort of stuff. So it was a really good choice, an interesting choice to put it in Johannesburg.
It's interesting.
I think that's what really took me.
Well, it's interesting when you realise as well, like you guys said, they didn't come to invade, they came to sit there because their ship's fucked, but they didn't do a single thing. And then the actual people that end up disturbing and disrupting the peace are the humans, because they're just so desperate for an answer to what's going on, so desperate to force a narrative on this, whether that comes from wanting more news coverage or just fucking ignorant aggression. They're the first people to kind of break that peace, and anyone that dies after that point, it was easily avoided had they just left it alone, which is something that I think humans have shown that they're fucking completely incapable of doing.
Yeah, the humans are dickheads in this movie. I think even the main character, even Charlotte Copley's a dickhead. For the majority of the movie, I didn't like him.
Yeah,
at all.
No.
What did you think about that?
Oh, well, me. Oh,
Well, anyone, both of you.
Yeah, at first you think he's kind of like, because you also got to take into account that this is in South Africa. They obviously have a different way of life, a different way they see, their attitude towards things is different compared to how we are over here, with like manners and everything. So he comes across as quite arrogant at first and very big-headed. Like he knows what he's doing when he's out in the field, and the whole here's the sweetie man, I am the sweetie man, I'm coming, kind of sort of. I was like, what? That really did the not sink in too well. But what happens to him, his character, and how he changes. He's freaked out, doesn't know what to do. Anyone would be in that situation. You would be, you would probably be like that as well, and try to figure out how to unwrite what's happened.
Absolutely, yeah, completely fucking turn your life upside down. So it's understandable, like the decisions he makes, but but it is frustrating at times though, because he does like form this kind of respect with the alien Christopher Johnson and his, which is a great name for an alien, and his little son. But then just the moments like where like he just betrays him and he just walks away from him when the military is surrounding him and everything like that, it's just so frustrating, because I feel like that's a lesson he should have learned. Granted, he learns it like 5 seconds later, but it's still quite frustrating to have him say, "There's the prawn, I'm leaving, fuck off," and that sort of stuff. What did you think about that, Lawrence?
Yeah, like, so his character as a whole, it's all very intentional, and don't get me wrong, it's done very well, but it's not subtle. Like the way that he's so clearly like, they even say it like this guy's become a bit of a dickhead, because he's been given a large amount of power, and that power comes through the kind of belief and the pressure put on him to essentially walk around and like deport people, evict people that have done absolutely nothing wrong, basically uprooting lives. It's just with a different context that they're aliens. But it's do you know what, my opinion of him shifted mainly in the scene which I think is the best scene in the movie, where they basically strap him up to a chair, put a gun in his hand, make him shoot, like they shot him to continuously make him shoot dead pigs. And there's the moment, and you really kind of, the actor does such a fantastic job, but there's a moment where they swap out the dead pig, which he's already pretty horrified about having to shoot, and they bring in the alien, and the alien just looks terrified. Like, the CG on this is like, yes, it's 2009. It's not perfect, but it's effective for the movie, and it doesn't get better than in this scene, because they really humanized this alien with me.
It's not perfect by today's standards, but for the time, I think it's quite good. Actually.
It was up there. Yeah, people were comparing it to the likes of like Gollum, which was groundbreaking for back in the day. So no, but then when the line that got me was when he said, "Bring back the pig. I'm not shooting him. He's done nothing wrong." And you just saw like the sheer horror. And it was clearly the moment he realised that this is the horror that he's been happily inflicting for years, or God knows how long. He did a U-turn for me, but whilst I'm not meant to like the character, I can't deny that he's so effective in this. Like, as a storytelling device, he's so good.
He definitely is really good. Did you not feel like? Sorry, Connor, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to segue into another conversation about the wife, but you go.
I was just going to quickly ask Lawrence. Did you not like feel frustration at those moments though, like where he did like betray Christopher?
Yeah, I did. It was more it is frustrating, as with anyone going on a redemption arc, because a lot of the times you see them get close, but they've still got lessons to learn. It would have frustrated me more had I like not had the ending that it had, where he essentially just goes, I deserve this, but you don't. And he kind of, not selflessly, because he's wasted enough of their life, do you know what I mean? But the fact that he is willing to put his ego aside, which was at the forefront of the movie. Like, there's a lot of times it really reminded me of like Michael Scott-esque playing up to a documentary camera crew. Like the whole, like, I think there was a moment where he like fell over or something, and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna cut that out, aren't you?" Like, and he basically was completely concerned with how he was perceived. So at the end, when he kind of committed his selfless act, it kind of wiped that frustration away from me. But yeah, it was there. It was absolutely there when I was watching him make the wrong choices.
Fair enough. Yeah, go ahead, Connor.
I was gonna say the relationship with the wife as well, because like you see many movies and you see like characters who have like wives or husbands, and you feel like these are like bad movies that don't connect the characters together, that you can't believe that they're together. With the wife in this, and you don't see a lot of her, you really do get a taste for like, that they are, a married couple. And it's something I just remembered as well, that the wife's father is up in the government, and he's pulling all the strings as well. He doesn't care about Charlotte Copley's character. What's his name again? It's Vickers.
Vicus or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Vickers Varamenda, I think his name is.
Let's call him Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody, South African Adrian Brody.
South African Adrian Brody. Yeah. Yeah. So, what were you saying about the wife?
Oh, I was just saying, like, the connection between, like, Vickers and the wife. Their connection was really good. You know, with the amount of time you saw them on screen, and you know how sad she was, especially towards the end of the film. Well, she wasn't sad. She seemed hopeful because something was left on her doorstep for her, and then ultimately what you saw at the end of the film as well.
It's like a little metal flower, like made out of like junkyard scrap. And then
Which
at the end of the film,
there was that moment, wasn't there, where he said, you got to home make gifts because it always means something more, which happened quite early on in the movie. Yeah.
Oh, I
so
completely missed that.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it's like so crucial for the ending. It's
I just thought he was making her a nice little gift.
I never even thought about that. No.
No. So there's how.
By the way, just a quick side note here. I think Lawrence, you're thinking of the movie Predators from 2010, which stars Adrian Brody.
That would explain so much. That would explain my connection as to why I one thought it was Alien, and two, oh god, okay. Thank you.
It was a hot time for Alien movies then.
It was.
Real hot
Thank you for putting my my weird thought to rest, Nathan.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, he says there's a moment where he says like, oh, I got either he says it or she says it, where they're describing a gift to the documentary crew. I think she says it. I think it's the wife, where she says, "Oh, he made me this." He always says like it's more personal when it's homemade or something like that. It's just a really throwaway line that basically gut punches you right at the end of the movie.
Oh, I completely missed that. I just thought he was making her a nice.
I'm gonna have to go away and watch it again, and have my tears.
Clearly, we're not as well versed in cinema as Lawrence is. So,
well, guys, come on! It takes years of practice. I don't want to be out here bragging.
I'm sure it does.
Can I add something for my
certainly can.
13, 14-year-old mind at the time as well? I was an absolute sucker for visual effects and graphics and everything. Like, it looked really, really good for the time. Like, I remember seeing all the detail on the prawn. I can probably guarantee if I watched it now, I'd be like, damn, what was I thinking at the time? But, with a budget of 30 million, not bad.
I think it looks good. I don't think you would be like, wow, what was I thinking? Because, yeah, sure, if you compare it to today's standards, then it's not amazing, but it's still not bad at all. It does look really good.
Yeah,
it's an easier movie than 4 hours.
It's definitely a lot easier than 4 hours. I'm interested to know, Connor, is there anything you don't like about the movie? Is there any criticisms you have?
This is something I mean, you guys know me. I'm very, very difficult with trying to pinpoint something bad because I love. As well, I could never be a film critic because when I love a film. I'm like, bang, 10 out of 10. But
I love that so much.
If I couldn't be a film critic. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, no, I like this film too much. I can't just give it a 9.
If someone had a gun to your head and a gun to your balls and told you, you need to tell me something bad about this movie, what would you say? What's your instant reaction?
I do. Oh, it might not be about the film. It's the fact that a sequel has still not arrived.
No, bang! There goes one of your balls.
Okay, no, my kids, no.
That's
okay,
not. The fact that there's not more of the movie isn't a criticism of the movie, Connor.
Okay. Okay, right. I would probably go ahead and say. Give me a second. I've got to really rack my brain here because I love this movie. It's close to me. It sits with me in bed.
What about you, Lawrence?
At night.
So
Okay. Well, what about you, Lawrence? Do you have any criticisms?
I have one criticism of this movie, and it's
Okay.
it's a reach because it doesn't take anything away from the movie. I just think it's a little bit too on the nose and obvious. So the fact that the kind of what's the organization called?
The
MNU?
MNU, yeah.
So
MNU.
the fact that that's kind
MNU,
of ambiguous, the fact that that's kind of ambiguously headed by his father-in-law, to me, I felt kind of, I guess, humanized it in a way that I don't think it should have been. So I think that it was quite a clear choice for it to be like this guy early on in the movie going, if you can't do this, I'll get someone else to do it, and then immediately throwing him under the bus when things could turn his way. But I don't think it needed to be anything. Like, you don't need an evil character to embody the driving force behind, like, racism, classism. Like, you don't need an evil guy because the organization he's representing is already doing a pretty bang up job of being evil enough. And I think the fact that it was his wife's father was just a little bit like a movie thing. That, like, how, like, I know this is a sci-fi movie, I know this, but it just the odds of it happening to this one guy, and the head of the guy who's torturing you is your wife's dad. Like, it felt a little bit too much like a plot thing that didn't really do much for me. But that's the only criticism.
Okay, when you say, like, you don't need a guy to be the embodiment of the racism and everything like that,
Yeah,
how else would you do it?
I think don't have a main guy. Like, there's obviously the soldier. The soldier I get is, like, has to be a character because he's an antagonist threat, and there needs to be someone to fight at the end of these movies. I do understand that.
Boss fight.
But the fact that there's enough scientists, there's enough soldiers, there's enough unnamed people, because I quite like the idea that this is just something that goes on, and not one single person can be held accountable, because racism becomes like a mindset, and an evil that is so, like, deep rooted in an organization or a society. It just felt a little bit like the movie had to put the blame on someone for a clear antagonist, and it didn't need it. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
I disagree though. I think that I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. I don't think that I didn't get the impression that he was, like, for lack of a better term, the CEO of racism in this movie. Like,
You're of racism.
yeah, he was just another cog in the machine to me, because he wasn't, like, the one who was, like, dishing out the orders and telling everyone to find this man. Sure, that was happening, but it wasn't, like, all on his shoulders. Like, everyone was in agreement from him. He wasn't telling reluctant people what to do. They was all very much on board and all very much happy to go along. Like that scene when they're all around the medical table, with Charlotte Copley on it, like, saying, yeah, we'll just kill him and then we'll do our tests and whatever. It wasn't like he was the one saying, yeah, let's kill him and then we'll carry on and we'll do what we need to do. They was all very much in agreement and saying, this is what we're doing. It wasn't... Do you see what I'm saying? It wasn't
I do.
I
think
and the rest.
Like I said, this does come down to, like, if I had to find something wrong with it, it'd be that. Again, I don't think the decision they made detracts from the movie at all. I don't think it is done badly. I don't know. It felt in a world that's clearly so devoted to setting up this kind of layer of realism, to the point where they even put it in, like, a fictitious documentary format. It felt like a very clear movie thing to happen. Like, the bad guy has to be someone that he knows personally for it to be justified. Do you know what I mean?
Seems easy, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about it, Connor? Because I'm curious as to what you'd think.
Well, I was going to say, can you imagine if, the big boss was a prawn? Ooh.
All along, the whole time.
That would be quite the twist. Yeah.
Curtain draw.
It's what happened,
It is
basically. Isn't
me.
it? The bad guy did become a prawn. Oh, yeah. social commentary.
But he wasn't really the bad guy.
Oh, Nathan, I was doing a bit. Will you let me do my bit?
Oh, well, it was a bad bit.
Right, Connor,
did
someone has a
you-
knife to your balls.
Oh,
I want to
nice.
hear a
God,
bad...
but my other ball.
on this podcast titled Another Happy Pod, I want to hear a bad thing about the movie.
I do. I was thinking, and it would probably be the way, not the way he transformed, but the black liquid.
Yeah.
I would say that's kind of, it didn't seem enough, I guess you could say. It just is like this one thing was hidden in this one shack, and it is eventually used to drive the ship away, which seems a bit like, you mean this little vial thing right here? That seems a bit out of the way there. They could have used something else.
Liquid that does everything to do with the plot. basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all a bit vague, and it's just general MacGuffinness. Like, this is what we
Why
need
does
to do.
why does this little liquid, this little liquid turn a different species into a prawn, or well, what they're called, prawns? Why does it do that, and why does it power a spaceship?
Yeah, it's got a lot of uses. Yeah,
got a fair
Oh
point.
yeah, that
That's
was
a-
it.
I didn't
When the
consider
ship
that.
flies off, it does that whole vroom, the whole Inception thing.
I've got. We're
and then all
approaching.
the windows in the city share.
What's going on over there, boys?
Shut up, carry on.
Vroom.
Okay, but Connor's making spaceship noises. Nathan's abusing me. This is the podcast you all know and love.
The Poddy Boys.
The Pod Boys. Connor, one day we're going to sit you down and tell you that's not the name of the podcast.
It's another happy pod. I've got it right here.
Right, we're approaching time, but I want to. We teased it up top. The movie teases it heavily, but there's been this movie came out in 2009. There has been no District 10 up until recent rumblings. Let's hear some thoughts about what you want from a sequel. Where do you want it to go? And fill me in, because I don't know what the rumors are.
I got nips.
On as recent as less than a month ago, February 26th, 2021, Neil Blomkamp revealed on his official Twitter that development was moving ahead on a script for a sequel titled District 10. Charlotte O'Copley is co-writing the screenplay with him.
Oh.
And so is his wife, Terry Tatchell.
Yes,
Don't think
that
of-
person too. So
Those world famous names that we all know and love.
we know Charlotte O'Copley. But
This got me really excited. Like, I heard this and I went, no way, they're not. I got excited, but I didn't get too excited because of like, well, it's in the writing stage at the moment. They're writing a script, and this could take however long. It's not official until they go, right, production has begun, and then you go, oh wow, let's go, boys. That's when you get really excited.
That's very true. To me, like it seems like the obvious thing to do is the 3 years later thing. Christopher Johnson coming back 3 years. I'm knowing, like, in real terms it'll be like about 15, 16 years later by that point. But there's no reason why he can't do 3 years later. Or just say like he got sidetracked because of some alien shit or whatever. And yeah, now he's back, and then they're gonna turn Charlotte O'Copley back into a human, but maybe he'll decide to stay as a little prawn because he likes making his flowers or whatever.
He will be a prawn still, yeah.
Yeah.
My God.
What do you think, Lawrence?
I think, I think it would be pretty cool to see him stay as one. I like to see him. The downside to, is it Charlotte Copley? Is that his name?
Charlotte O'Copley.
Charlotte
Vicus.
So yeah, the downside to him staying as a prawn would be that we don't get a lot of face time with his very, very respectable acting chops, and that obviously because there's not even many lines that can come of that. Obviously because it's all a lot of clicking and subtitles. I would like to see him. I basically put it this way: District 9 surprised me as a film. I'd like District 10 to do the same. there's not much I want to see from it because, let's be honest, no one yearns for content like District 9. No one wants to see oppression, like played out so realistically on a screen. But it's a good little piece of art, and if they can do it justice with a sequel, then I'd love to see it.
Absolutely. I would love them to do justice with a sequel because I wouldn't want them to do something obvious like Christopher comes back and then like there's this whole story of Christopher trying to find, you know, Vicus, the character, and have no idea who he looks like because he doesn't know that. But you know, like Nathan said, I think they'll either do the whole 3-year thing, or they might stick with the current time of when the film gets released, be like 12, 15 years or so, let's just say that. And, you know, Vicus has been waiting all this time, and he's still a prawn, and maybe he doesn't remember being human anymore. There's so many avenues they could do. Would they do documentary?
They could do the son coming back instead of Christopher. Like maybe something happens to Christopher and it's just his son who can come back. So he's all grown up now. That could be interesting.
That'd be I would like to see something like that. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Connor, we've got a world famous rating system here that has never been challenged. Not even
No, we don't. We don't. We do a standard out of 10, but you can change the numbers for something from the movie.
So if I was to give it an example, I would give this 9 tins of cat food out of 10.
I would also give this 9 prawn aliens out of 10.
I would give this 9.
If you want to say 10, you can say 10. No one's going to stop you.
Well, the sequel isn't here for District 10 yet, so I guess we'll just have to wait for another Happy Boy.
That was a good one.
I'll give it a 10 Vicus eating burgers out of 10.
Actually,
out of 9.
I'll change my rating to 9 Wickers having sex with alien conspiracy. I did love that. There's the scene where he's just in like this classic little burger place, and suddenly the news is like, "This just in: this guy fucked an alien," and is currently at your burger shop next to you, wanting your food, and everyone's just like,
"He
oh
is
my
dangerous."
God, yeah.
He will fuck me.
Yeah. No, it's good. I enjoyed seeing what our world is going to look like if the pandemic carries on, and we're herded into.
Just a fucking hell. What a note to end on. Anyway,
I'm so trapped in my flat.
Thank you for listening. Thanks for joining us, Connor. Thanks for coming on. It's been lovely.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Everyone, please again check out Mr. Superkins on YouTube. He does streams and playthroughs. What are you playing through at the moment?
I am playing. Oh shit, that was a horrible sound. I am playing through Red Dead Redemption 2. I did start it as a post. I was posting videos, but internet's not good for uploading and it takes forever. So I switched over to live streaming, and it's been more beneficial for my channel. So Red Dead Redemption 2, come check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Well, actually, one of mine and Lawrence's favourite games. So
I heard you're doing Froob reviews as well, the little condensed packs of yogurts.
Oh, yes,
is that
yes.
the case?
Froob, it is actually. I actually started doing that today. It was a fan request. I was told to look at some Froobs and test them out. I could do them on stream one time. What flavours are there? There's peach, there's strawberry, I think, and there's blackcurrant or berry.
For the
Connor,
listener
before we start, no, I don't care. Connor, before we started recording, I believe we promised you a solid minute just to go through all your brand sponsorships.
All right.
So please,
tell me when I'm ready.
It's yours. You're ready, I hope.
Okay, so shout out to these fantastic companies. We've got Elgato over here for capturing all my content on my console. We've got LG with their LG tones. Definitely check them out. And we've got some LG monitors here. One for 1080p 60 Hz and one for 1440p 144 hertz. Don't think I said that right. We also got some pop dolls right here, and we've also got some Anker
No one can
wireless
see this,
charger.
by the way. No one can see this.
Oh.
Just so you know.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm just showing it to you guys because I feel like you care. And and one last final shout out. We're going to do a shout out to Razer. I don't know why I'm showing you that again. No one can see that. Razer, they're such a fantastic product. Everyone shits on their software, but I actually think it's pretty Gucci.
You got 10 seconds, Connor.
Well, there you go.
Shout out to my dog, Arthur.
Shout out to Arthur. And there we go. Thanks for joining us this week. Next week, we're doing Monkey versus Crocodile. So we'll see you then. Another happy pod.